Aloha and welcome. My name is Taylor Norris, and I'm an astrologer and Reiki master teacher. And in today's video, we are going to be looking at a high level basic overview of Uranus and Gemini. This is a transit that is occurring and kicking off on July 6th, July 7th, depending on where you are in the world. So we're going to take a look at the Ingress chart, some of the other basics, and also I'm going to be sharing more about the details of the multidimensional course content for the upcoming class I'm teaching, Uranus Ingress Gemini Mysteries Revealed Galactic Intuitive Astrology and Reiki Journey class. And we are going to be diving into some esoteric material, some really interesting material, and really embracing the Pleiades and Sirius and the sacred triangle. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to jump right into Uranus and Gemini. Let's do it. First things first, Uranus. It is one of our outer planets. It has been in Taurus since May 16th, 2018, and it moves into Gemini on July 7th of this year, July 6th, as I said, depending on your location on beautiful planet Earth. Uranus's orbit is 83.9 years, so just shy of 84 years. And Uranus spends between 6 and 8 years in each sign, 6.3 to 7.8 years in each sign. So it spends a good amount of time in each sign. We really get to dive into and deconstruct whatever the zodiac sign is that Uranus is transiting through and really experience an awakening within that part of our life, more freedom, liberation, illumination, embracing change, embracing evolution. So it's good to know what astrological house is Taurus in and Gemini so that you can reflect on what has been coming up since May 16th, 2018. What were the changes? What were the evolutions? What was the quality and the nature of your awakening in your life since 2018? How have you changed and grown? And mapping that onto the astrological house, you can get an idea of, was that life area really transformed and liberated and maybe had lots of change and disruption, lots of growth, and lots of new energy. Also good to know, where's Gemini zodiac sign in your chart, which astrological house. This again will be the life area that is experiencing those Uranian awakenings and changes and fresh doses of high frequency life force energy. And also, as Uranus is the exoteric ruler or planetary guide of Aquarius zodiac sign, you can also look to whatever astrological house Aquarius is in and kind of start synthesizing and seeing, oh, this is an additional life area that has that Uranian flavor that is experiencing awakening. Of course, good to also look at your natal Uranus, what zodiac sign, what house, what aspects, so we can really go into a lot of depth for how this is going to impact you as an individual. But Uranus is a planet of liberation, individuality, really waking up, shaking up stagnation, and inviting you to embrace your authentic self even more deeply and also commune with your soul family, your family of frequency more deeply as well. Especially in the sign of Gemini, this is a very social, ideas, communications oriented sign. Very, very strong in the mental stimulation and the mental body activation. So historically, Uranus was last in Gemini from August 8th, 1941 until August 31st, 1948. So individuals with Uranus in Gemini, the 84-year-old crew will be experiencing their Uranus return, which if you're watching this video and you're one such individual, Congratulations, you made it to your Uranus return. This is something that, we can really aspire to live a life of high quality through old age and experience that rite of passage that is the Uranus return. So Uranus will stabilize in Gemini on April 25th of next year. So it will be then in Gemini from April 25th, 2026, and then start entering Cancer on August 3rd, 2032. So we have a while from 2026 until 2032 with that main part of the Uranus in Gemini transit. So this year, Uranus will move forward through the very first degree of Gemini until September 5th, when it will station retrograde, appearing to move backwards from 1 degree Gemini in 27 minutes, and will remain in retrograde motion until February 3rd of next year, when it stations at 27 degrees Taurus and 27 minutes. So we get a little taster of this, what will really be setting in motion into greater stability in April 25th of next year. We get this taster. What is Uranus in Gemini? What is the quality of this awakening and evolution and change and global communications and so many different things that Uranus in Gemini is going to bring in so much new, fresh information, inspiration, ideas, truth, freedom, just new across the board. Lots to learn with Uranus and Gemini. Gemini is a sign having to do with learning and knowledge, and hopefully alchemizing that knowledge into wisdom as well. So on screen now is the Uranus Ingress Gemini astrological chart and galactic chart, and this is occurring at 9:47 p.m. July 6th in Hawaii. So for most other locations, it's going to be on July 7th. And you can see Uranus down here in the third house of this chart at 0 degrees and 0 minutes of Gemini, conjoining dwarf planet Sedna with a very, very massive, very long 11,000 plus year orbit around the sun, compared to Uranus's relatively quick 84 years. We have Uranus in Gemini, Sedna in Gemini, and of course Venus in Gemini, 2 degrees and 57 minutes. And what's so lovely is that prior to Uranus entering Gemini, Venus is conjoining, making an exact conjunction with Uranus, and then leading the way, guiding Uranus into Gemini. And I was reflecting on this morning, and how that's kind of a reminder, or harkens back to earlier this year when both Mercury and Venus were doing their retrogrades from Pisces to Aries to Pisces. And that was right around the time that both Neptune and Saturn were going from Pisces into Aries. And so once again here we have Venus involved in this outer planet Uranus changing sign for the first time since 2018. So guiding the way, and Venus really being the light bearer, the light bringer, the esoteric ruler of Gemini zodiac sign, guiding us forward. It's like our higher selves, like calling us into this new energy, this new frequency, this new portal, crossing the threshold over into Gemini, this whole new chapter of humanity. Chapter being a really great Gemini book writing kind of a word for what is occurring here. So really, really beautiful. And Venus, the higher self planet, complementary sister planet to Earth, it is like our future selves and our higher selves are welcoming us into this new, illuminated, liberated chapter of humanity in our own personal growth and spiritual evolution, our awakening, our innovation, our embracing the new, and even thinking about kind of like a beginner's mind, kind of an orientation. And I was tuning into this morning in my Reiki journey, and what came over me really, I was asking for an experience of this, Uranus conjuncting the Pleiades in particular, but you can see here too, the moon is going to be opposing the Hyades, which are a similar star system to Pleiades. There's a lot of like crossover with the Pleiadian and Hyadian beings. And then we have our sun, of course, here too with Sirius. So asking and inviting an experience with the Pleiades and Sirius, which I encourage you to do if you're interested in connecting with enlightened Pleiadians, Syrians, that those frequencies, just ask, invite that experience into your journey, into your meditation. What came over me, I was encouraged to actually open my eyes and just feeling this feeling of like this very smooth, perfect peace. It was so pleasant, and it felt like the experience of beauty. I was really like, okay, what are the words to describe this? It was pleasant, it was beautiful, it was peaceful. It was like this really soft radiance, and seeing the world through the eyes of beauty was something that came in, but it was so soft and smooth and gentle and powerful at the same time, and not what you would necessarily think of for Uranus, which is usually described as like the lightning bolt moment or the tower, or, some kind of traumatic or really like sharp, distinctive energy, which it can certainly be. But how this is working out with our current transit is that Uranus is, aligning with the Pleiades, with Venus there as well, with Sedna there as well, opposite the moon, Pleiades, Hyades, Sirius, all these really beautiful stars being activated, that there's definitely the higher frequencies as always available for us to tap into. And it feels like too, in that stillness, in that peace, that's where we can really anchor and access the knowledge and the wisdom and the truth and the remembrance, and that fuller, deeper sense of communion with our higher selves, with our future selves, with our guides, with our allies, with reaching into that galactic contact by waking up more of our multidimensional self, waking up more of our soul and spirit's memory, waking up more of our authentic self, and certainly doing so within the context of community, as Uranus in its linkage with Aquarius zodiac sign is all about the future, is all about the galactic, but is also about those humanitarian efforts and coming together with tribe, with friends, with soul family, with those important contacts, and exchanging ideas and thoughts, and really being in that energy of exchange, and with Venus there as well, with pleasantness, and that all of this is really combining here to facilitate this Aquarian Renaissance. I love this term. The Aquarian Renaissance of community and art and beauty and spirituality, progress, communications, just the new refined forms of this new age that we are walking into and creating, co-creating and manifesting. Yes, of course, at the same time, old systems and structures breaking down, and a lot of, apparent chaos and these sorts of things, but really leaning into that group support and the inspiration that's available to us at this time as well, because that is very much a part of the broader picture as well. There is very significant manifestation energy here too in this chart. I'm noticing here with Chiron conjunct the Andromeda Galaxy. This is a galaxy of instant manifestation. And then also with Saturn, Neptune still holding their position about to station retrograde. So at the time of the ingress, Neptune will already be stationed retrograde and Saturn will be preparing to station. So both of those two planets not really moving very much at all and holding their position opposite the supergalactic center, which is one of these black holes that has that very strong attraction, manifestation quality to it, can certainly help us release what no longer serves, supporting that healthy release and transmutation of the lower, of the darkness, of the negativity, of whatever is no longer serving our highest good, and facilitating the bringing in of the new, the fresh, the next step, the next level. So lots more to explore in this chart, but I think I will leave it there and really expect with Uranus and Gemini, one thing that's like very mundane manifestation is like flying cars, total revolution in transportation, Gemini, all forms of transportation, global communications, certainly the media, social media, schooling, and education as well. These are all Gemini related areas that certainly with Uranus there, we will experience some change and innovation. And something else I was thinking about too is that Uranus and Taurus brought so much instability in the earth and then economically too, that perhaps something that we could look forward to with Uranus and Gemini is less of that hardcore economic instability and feeling that earth instability, that maybe those are things that can kind of resolve and consolidate. That's kind of a hope and a prayer for this, that the pressure will be off Taurus zodiac sign. So possibly these could kind of manifest and restabilize into new and higher forms, hopefully learning from the transit of Uranus in Taurus. But again, Uranus will be going back in Taurus later this year. So we're not completely finished with that instability economically and then with the physical structure of the earth as well, that is still experiencing its own kind of Uranian awakening through the end of this year and into early 2026 as well. So you are invited to the upcoming class I'm teaching on the day that Uranus is entering Gemini on Monday, July 7th. Uranus Ingress Gemini, Mysteries Revealed, Intuitive Galactic Astrology and Reiki Journey class. We'll also include Esoteric Astrology in this class. And so this class page will be linked below this video if you want to check it out and register for class. It will be live on Zoom in a Zoom meeting, and it will also be recorded. So if you're not able to make it live Monday, July 7th, you will receive recordings with indefinite access through a private group hosted on my website, so you can take the class afterwards. So I wanted to share about what we will be covering. The class structure is similar to other classes that I've taught in this Reiki, Astro Reiki style. We start with an invocation. Then there is in-depth, comprehensive, astrological, intuitive teaching. We take a break, we come back, we do a Reiki journey aligning with the higher frequencies of Uranus and Gemini. I'll share a bit more about that journey in just a moment. There's time for sharing, and then we open the circle. And it's such a powerful experience. The sacred circle is always divinely ordered, and we really have so much fun together and go really, really deep into the energy together. There's a lot of healing, there's a lot of empowerment, and our the group that keeps coming together really, really loves it. So if you've been considering joining one of these classes, maybe for the first time, then definitely consider it, check it out, and let me know in the comments below or email me if you have any questions. So, what we will be covering in the astrology part of the class is, of course, Uranus in astrology. And this is a beginner friendly class. There will be something there for all levels, and allowing the information to kind of wash over you is a good way to go with this. So, we'll look at Uranus in astrology. We will look at some intuitive and dream interpretation that Uranus was talking to me about what it is. So I'll share more about that. We'll take a deeper look at the Ingress chart. We will look into Gemini zodiac sign more deeply, Uranus and medical astrology, looking specifically at Uranus in Gemini in medical astrology, how that works, what to be aware of there. We will also look at the Jyotish medical astrology system. This is Jyotish, the science of light. This comes from ancient India and the Vedas. And I've been sharing in my previous classes a map of how this works. And as more information has come in, I've added to this map. So we're going to be going over that, showing the chakras and the colors and the planets and the different body zones. So this is a really wonderful way to understand how we embody these energies, how we embody the astrology. And then we're going to go even deeper and have even more fun looking at the rays, the 7 rays of esoteric astrology, how they link in with the chakras and the planets. And again, I've made tables and charts very color coded and showing everything in the body. Also, the ascended and divine masters that link in with each of the 7 rays. So, we're going to take some time and really tune into the hierarchy of the divine masters, the Choans, the custodians of each of the 7 rays. And just to say, too, that Uranus is a 7th ray planet. So this is the 7th ray of ceremonial order and magic. And as a Earth humanity, we are moving into an era that is really highlighting the 7th ray. This is part of that new Aquarian energy that we are tapping into and expressing and evolving and ascending into a greater expression of the 7th ray. So I also have another really fun slide looking at the sacred triangle of Ursa Major, Sirius, the Pleiades, the 7 stars of Ursa Minor, sacred, non-sacred planets, again, the rays, the chakras, the gemstones, the masters, mapping all of this out. So we'll have time to really explore that and go into how this works in esoteric astrology. We'll look at Uranus specifically in esoteric astrology, Gemini in esoteric astrology, the Pleiades in esoteric astrology as well. Some more really helpful diagrams showing how this actually works. We'll look at the solar logos and the 7 solar systems. Y'all, this is so cool. This is like all the different levels. It's kind of like the fractals, but fractals at a larger scale. It's a bit like Russian dolls, looking at different scales of organization in terms of our planet, the solar system, the 7 solar systems, the galaxy, and really like expanding our consciousness and like mapping out this great being of the universe or something like God. It's so amazing. I'm so excited to explore this with y'all. And then I also share with you how to investigate your natal Uranus more deeply. I will also share with everybody their natal Uranus signs and house placement, which I know sometimes people in the class, often there are students that are more advanced, and so will already know their Uranus natal sign and house placement. But again, it's beginner friendly, so I want to always include that information for everybody. And then I will also let you know which astrological house Uranus and Gemini will be transiting in and then what are some of the meanings for the houses, so you can start kind of putting it together, what to expect a little bit, knowing that with Uranus, it's like expect the unexpected. So it's very, very general, kind of what to expect. And then the Reiki journey, it's going to be amazing. We're going to go to the 84th heaven within the solar system, enlightened heavens of consciousness, commune with Uranus and Venus. And then we're going to journey into the enlightened heavens of the Milky Way galaxy, into the sacred triangle of Sirius, the Pleiades, Ursa Minor, 7 stars, 7 rishis, and Ursa Major. And we're going to journey and spend some time in the Pleiadian Hall of Wisdom. And here we're going to commune with enlightened star beings, galactic beings, divine masters, your guides, your sacred and beloved ones, your future self, your higher self, whoever you really need to be with and receive the mysteries revealed. So this is not just a class of me telling you like esoteric information and revealing mysteries. We will do that. I will do my best to facilitate that, but also you in the journey receiving the revealing of mysteries to you. So this is going to be really, really amazing. And then we'll come back to the first heaven of Earth as well, with that greater contact established between you and the enlightened Pleiadians, the divine masters of the Pleiades, enlightened Sirians, divine masters of Sirius, if those come in for you as well. That is a bit about the class, and if that's something you're interested in, again, the class page will be linked below this video, and I'm just so excited for the sacred circle that's already coming together. And just to highlight the power of sacred circles, especially when they are divinely timed. They always are, but intentionally divinely timed, like with the new moon distant Reiki shares, or with these transits that I host these classes. It's so, so powerful anytime to come together in sacred circle. But when the transits, when the astrological energies are really inviting that, we can go so deep, and such tremendous power and healing, empowerment, enlightenment, magic, miracle, synchronicities, blessings, gifts, as I like to say. These are all very possible. And it's, again, it's a time to be together in community in a safe space. And as I said, the sacred circle, it's always such beautiful souls, my favorite people to be with. So I really look forward to our next class. I wish you the most abundant, blessed, smooth, graceful, easy, peaceful, blissful Uranus in Gemini 2025 and beyond. Aho, amen, namaste, and so it is. Mahalo.